All righty. Let's see. Mr. Cruz, can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can hear you. I
All
think we're
right,
ready
sounds
to
good.
go.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us for today's meeting and being flexible with the time. I appreciate you guys being here. I know it's a little bit late in the afternoon, but we appreciate you guys sticking around and kind of get a little info on middle school golf. So hopefully this presentation doesn't take too long. We know you guys have things to do, and it's a school night, of course. So we'll keep things moving along as quick as we can here. All right, so start off, my name is Ivan Guzman. I'm the middle school athletic director here at USM, and I'll go ahead and pass it off to Mr. Cruz here.
Hello. Some of you that are going to be in the incoming fifth grade class probably know me as Antonio's dad, but my name is Chris Cruz. I've been here at University School for way too long, about 27 years or so. I currently coach. I'm on the varsity boys golf staff. And I have something like 25 seasons of coaching experience here at University School. I'm also happen to be the director of IT, so kind of comes in handy for this for doing these types of webinars. So, and then just a quick note: if anybody has any questions, we are going to have a Q&A section at the end of this meeting. So if you have any questions that you want to ask, there should be a Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom window, and in there you can enter in any questions. So we will try to answer those questions at the end of the webinar. So I hope that works out for everybody. Mr. Guzman, shall we get started? All right.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
All right, sounds good. All right, so this is going to be one of the very first ones of its kind in terms of a middle school golf program interscholastically. We've, or at least in at University School and some schools. So to give you an idea of what the season is, it is going to be in the fall. We are starting this fall of 2024. The season's going to start probably mid to late August. Right now, everything's tentative, but we're looking to initially start the season on August 19th, which is about a week before school starts. It's around the same time as middle school football. Practices are going to be about twice a week, tentatively scheduled for Monday and Tuesdays. They're going to be about an hour long. And so you're looking at probably 2 days a week, usually, except for that first week. And we can talk about that a little bit, but it's probably going to be about Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, that first week. There are 6 scheduled events. They're mostly on Thursdays. They're going to start on Thursday, August 29th, after school starts. And then the last event right now, again, tentatively, is scheduled for Tuesday, October 1st. So we're going to start late August. We're going to end by August 1st, at least for the season. There might be another event or party after that, but at least in terms of the golfing, it's going to be ending around October 1st. The competition format, we're going to start in using what is called the PGA Junior League. Some of you may have had some experience with this, and it's basically a scramble format. However, later on, some of the advanced players will progress to, a best ball competition where, both players on the same team will play their ball all the way out from tee to hole, and then they'll take the best score from that pair. So that's best ball. For those of you that don't know, scramble is what I commonly refer to as best shot, which most people play in like golf outings, corporate golf outings, where everyone will hit their tee shot. The team will then select the best tee shot, and then they'll all drop a ball from that point and then hit another shot from there. So that's best shot or scramble format. That's what we're going to start with. We're trying to make this as easy a transition for people who haven't, or for players that haven't had a lot of competitive golf experience. So that's a really good way of getting, young players kind of started with competitive golf. But as we get more advanced, some of the advanced players, we might move them into best ball in the middle of the season, and then ultimately we'll get them into individual stroke play, which is kind of what you just saw at the PGA Championship, where they're playing their own ball, their own score, and then they're playing individually at that point. So the focus for this program, in terms of what we want to bring to it, is that we want to provide a really good introduction to playing the world of competitive golf for beginners. As a lot of you may know, golf's very difficult, and it can be very stressful if you are not used to playing golf competitively. And so we want to make this a nice, comfortable experience for young players to come out and say, this can be kind of fun. We can, it's also a good way for them to just get the experience underneath the belt without all the pressures of individual stroke play, which we see at the high school level. However, there is that component. We want to prepare our older players, our 7th and 8th graders, for individual stroke play at the high school level. Almost all of these golf competitions in high school for both girls and boys is individual stroke play. So we do have that component of wanting to make sure that we have a low stress introduction to competitive golf, but then we also have a situation where we want to make sure that we prepare the older middle school players for high school golf later on. We want to have an emphasis on short game in this program. So that involves a lot of things like chipping and pitching, and putting. We have a joke it's probably only my joke, but we have a joke in high school golf that the modern game has turned into what's called bomb and gouge. A lot of the younger players, they can hit the ball really, really far. That's what we're seeing at the varsity level. However, the gouge, which is hitting onto the green with a wedge, we're not seeing a lot of fine tuning of that skill with our freshmen that are coming in. So we've identified that as a gap right now in terms of what the young players are coming with in terms of the high school game. Everyone loves bombing the ball. Everyone loves driving the ball 200, 250, 300 yards. It feels great, but the reality is, in terms of golf, short game is how you create great scores. And we're not seeing a lot of refinement at the high school level in terms of how our younger high school players are approaching scoring. And so that is going to be a major emphasis on this game. In terms of this program, we will have full shot instruction. We'll try to give that as much as possible, but we're really going to focus in on everything from 50 yards to the hole, working on putting, working on chipping, and working on the short game aspects. That's going to be a major focus of this program. We're also going to model the tenets of the game: respect and sportsmanship. Honor, respect, and honesty are going to be the themes that we are going to have. We're going to model that not only in competition, but we're going to model that in practice. And some people call me a little bit old school, but respect and honesty in the game of golf is paramount. If you don't have that, you really shouldn't be playing. And so if we are going to expect that from the members of the team, to show that same respect, show respect of your teammates, show the respect of your playing partners and your opponents, and showing respect to the coaches and to the adults that are around events. If you don't show that in not only competitions, but also in practice, you might be asked to sit out practice for a little while until you reflect on those. That is going to be a major emphasis in this program. No slamming of clubs. We see it a lot in the pro game now, where a lot of the players might lose their temper a little bit, and they might act out in a way that's really not appropriate on the golf course. So we really want to make sure that we model that type of behavior right from the get-go. And, as me as a golf coach, we're going to be unwavering about that. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to not like a shot, but we can't be slamming clubs. We can't be treating our playing partners disrespectfully or the course disrespectfully. That's going to be, again, one of these major pillars of this program. And this is my own personal thing. We want to make sure that we keep up pace of play. I'm going to be having a hard, fast rule. Only one practice swing allowed. I have seen many times where we have young players that I use the term swing themselves out of the good shot. They'll take one practice swing, it'll feel a little creaky. The second or the third swing ends up being really good, and they take a couple more, and by the time they hit the ball, it ends up being a not a great shot. You really only need one practice swing, and that's what I'm going to model here in the program. So what can your student do to get ready for this golf season? There's a couple of different options. You know, a lot of people may not know exactly what's available to them. But one thing to understand is that this is going to be a group team environment. We're going to provide as much instruction that we can and work with as many players as we can. But this isn't going to be individual golf lessons. That's not how it really works at the high school level either. So we'll try to work with as many students as best we can, help everyone as best we can. However, you know, in terms of individualized instruction, that's not really something that's going to be happening during the fall. So what are things that you can do to get ready? There are some group lessons that are available at your local range or golf course, or if you're a member of a club, there's probably group lessons there. That's one real good way to get yourself going during the summertime. That's one thing I recommend. You can also look at private lessons, again, at the same places, local ranges, golf courses, local golf courses with the course pro, or your club pro at a country club or a semi-private club. That's something else that I would also highly recommend looking into. There is a couple sections of golf with our Summer Ideas program. I'm not sure if they're full, but that's another option that you can look into to get a little bit of group instruction for your students. So that's another option as well. Another thing, again, the play that we're going to have is modeled after the PGA Junior League. So again, might be available at your local club. However, there is a publicly accessible Junior League via Milwaukee County. It's the Milwaukee County Parks program. My son Antonio is going to be he's going to be involved in that. So that's another way to get yourself ready. There's about 4 sessions of instruction before they team everybody up into teams. And that'll be a really good way of seeing how the competition format is going to run. And lastly, there are also Wisconsin PGA Junior events. Again, a lot of the kids will play in some of those. There are par 3 tournaments, but that's single stroke play, but that's also a good way to get yourself into competition. So all of these are great ways to get your student ready to either step up to play golf at the competitive level if they've never played competitive golf before, or if they've never played golf at all before and want to get started, these are good ways to get started as well. And if you need any resources, please reach out to myself or Mr. Guzman. We'll be happy to supply you with some links to some places that you can go ahead and try to get some instruction for your student. So for the team logistics, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Guzman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cruz. So now I'm just going to talk about some team logistics here for the school year. So first and foremost, we tried to model this program as best as we could towards what upper school does to keep that kind of continuous and in line with what we're doing already for golf programs here at USM. So first off, equipment wise, so equipment must be provided by the families. So that's going to include, your clubs and bags and balls for events and things like that. Those are things that USM will unfortunately not be able to provide, and it's better fit in terms for the actual student athletes to get equipment that's for them, rather than something that may be not a detriment, but not exactly for that particular player. Everybody's very unique in their own way for the equipment that you need in golf. So equipment must be provided by families. And so again, being modeled after the upper school in the varsity and JV golf teams we have in the high school, there will be a participation fee. So this is going to include several things within it, given that here at USM, unfortunately, we don't have a golf practice facility, right? So it's nothing that we have on campus. Therefore, there is a cost associated with having a facility to practice at. So that's what that participation fee will be, and why it's there. And so this fee is going to be, due to no on-site practice facilities, as I previously mentioned, and costs associated with using the range, going to the driving range, the practice range, and with the greens and chipping areas and all that stuff. There's a cost associated with going there to use that. So that fee will be used for that particular items when it comes to the season. The fee is also going to be used for headwear. Looks like it's not listed on there. I must have accidentally deleted it. So, but it's going to be used for some headwear for the team. So we look like a team. So that's what the participation fee will go towards. And there will be a form that is sent out on My USM over the summertime. So that particular form will lay out all of this in greater detail for you to kind of take a look at and, decide whether or not, this is potentially something you want to do. And I have seen the middle school sign up form, and it's been filling up, which is great. And it's great to see. So thank you guys for taking a look at that and signing your kiddos up for some athletics for next year. So I'm really excited about that. And then lastly, for the last logistical piece with the team, so transportation, obviously it's a big thing here for, just getting kids to events and whatnot. So transportation will be provided to and from events, meaning matches. So we will always make sure that we'll be able to get transportation to get our kiddos to the course where they'll be playing. But unfortunately not for practices. For practices, we're going to need some help from the parents to get the students there to the actual practice range to make sure they can get their work in to be ready for the actual matches. So that's a good thing to note as well. And up next for event logistics, I will toss that back to Mr. Cruz.
All right. In terms of the events, what we are looking for is that there will be a team uniform on event days. That'll consist of, and we know that most of the kids are required to wear a polo at school. So we're just looking at a basic plain polo, not like the one that I'm wearing right now, but either just the plain white or the plain blue polos. So they'll have to know that they're going to have to wear those. Also khaki bottoms, either shorts or pants or skirts or skirts, and the team headwear. And the reason for this is that, again, we're modeling the correct behavior on a golf course. And so this is appropriate attire that you would have at any golf course, whether public or private. And so we want to make sure that we model that correct behavior. So if you wear pretty much what you see on screen, a polo, khaki bottom, and team headwear, chances are you'll be fine at walking onto any golf course. So that's what that's going to be, quote unquote, the team uniform on event days, not a practice. A practice is going to be a little bit more lax, but when we're playing on the course, that's the expectation of what everyone's going to wear. The players and again, this is very much like high school golf. The players can either carry their carry bags, or they can use a family supplied push or pull cart. Obviously, the kids are not going to be driving around in motorized golf carts. And we actually don't want parents to be driving kids around on golf carts. One of the questions, and we'll get back to this in the question and answer, all of these events are going to be held on par 3 courses. Again, tentatively right now on par 3 courses. So we're not talking about making the kids walk 3,000 yards or anything like that. They're going to be shorter golf courses appropriate to the age and the distance that they can hit the ball. So the expectation is that they could either carry their bags or they can use, again, a family supplied push or pull cart to carry their clubs, because as again, many of you know, I have a boy who's going into 5th grade. Him carrying his golf bag is kind of difficult. So he does have a push cart that he uses when he plays golf. So if that's something that you want to look at possibly investing in for your child, or if they don't have a problem carrying their bag, that's great too. And in terms of on event days, if parents are available, it'd be great if we could get some assistance. And the types of things that we're looking at for parents to help out with is, help looking for golf balls, making sure that the groups keep moving along, possibly with some of the younger 5th graders and 6th graders, helping them count shots. But we do want to make sure that the parents aren't giving any what's called advice on the golf course. No reading of putts, no helping them with lines. The nice thing about the team format is that the players should be able to help themselves in terms of a team. And so, there should be advice that can be given amongst the students, and obviously the coaches will be there to help as well. But we don't want the parents to be helping out the kids with telling them what distance shots it is and what lines and putts and so on and so forth. Again, very similar at the high school level, that no advice can be given to players except for anyone who's a coach or a teammate. So with that, and I think we've almost hit it right on the head with 20 minutes, let's go ahead and start with the question and answer section.
I can go ahead and take that first one, Mr.
Go
Cruz.
ahead.
All right. So the question for the first one, as I'm sure many of you can probably see, is can students participate in drama / musicals and golf? So at USM, especially in athletics, we have a really good relationship with the drama and musical department over there with Miss Gonring. We have, obviously, she puts on great things throughout the year, and we're aware that she needs, practices and rehearsals and all that stuff too. And she's also aware that we need our practices and things for our games. So what we've always had in the past is just a good relationship to where, especially in basketball, you see a lot of this during the season. What often happens is that we'll do kind of like a split for practices. So we try our best to, try to line things up to where maybe there's at least, a very minimal amount of conflicts when it comes to that. But as you all know, as soon as you get closer and closer to the show or the musical, practices for them ramp up and ultimately become, they have to be there as the week leading up. So what we always do is try to split half and half in a 50-50 type model. And we always make it work. So if your kid is in the musical or drama, it's totally okay. We're going to make things work. And we've always had a really good relationship with them. And we want to continue to foster that as well. We want kids to, also be able to do things at USM and not just athletics as well. So that being a USM sponsored event, we're happy to work with them and make things happen. Let's see, where will practices take place? Where will the team play? Yeah, Mr. Cruz alluded to that. The teams will play in part. Yeah, why don't you take this one, Mr. Cruz?
Yeah, I can take that. Yeah, and in terms of the practice sites, tentatively right now, we're looking at Missing Links, which is on Highland Road and Port Washington Road. And we're also looking at using Brown Deer Golf Course's practice facility. Again, that's for the short game and putting area. So those are the two sites that we plan on using for practices. The other sites that we're looking at in terms of events are going to be Hanson Golf Course, which is in Wauwatosa, Zablocki, which is on the south side of Milwaukee, and Warnemont, which is in Cudahy. So those are going to be the three sites We'll probably play each twice, again, all tentative. But those are the sites that we're going to have for events, and then practices, we're going to be very close to school.
All righty, I'll take the next one from Mr. Brennan. Can you speak to the logistics of bringing the clubs to and from school each practice day? Is there a spot they can stay at? Yes, so we will definitely find a location for, the golf bags and everything to sit during the school day, so they can have them, here on campus, for match days and all that good stuff. We have locations where our upper school students leave their bags throughout the day, so they have them here on campus. So we'll do the same for middle school. Logistically, it would make sense to have that somewhere over by the middle school. So I'll discuss with the middle school department and find a location that's good for us to keep all our stuff in as the school day goes on. So yes, there will be somewhere that exact location, TBD. And then next one, where practices be held. Mr. Cruz mentioned that for missing links. And what's the transportation plan to and from practices? So to and from practices, we're asking that parents be able to take their students to missing links for practices. For match days, we'll always provide transportation. Fall is a really busy time in the athletic department with tons of other things going on as well, not just golf, but other sports as well. So that's the transportation plan for practices during the season. And of course, during matches, we'll make sure that we can get students there as a team. Let's see, moving on.
I can take the next one about what time our practices and where. Where we talked about. And in terms of, as I'm typing this out, in terms of before school starts, we have to determine what time practices are going to be for those first three practices, which I think is the 19th, the 20th, and the 22nd. However, after school starts, we're looking at starting practices probably around 3:45 or 4 o'clock. So that should give, it might be closer to 4. That should give the family some time to get their kids, possibly get a snack, and then get shuttled over to the practice facilities. So that's kind of what we're planning there.
All right.
The next one, I can take that as well. We don't plan on practicing at a golf course necessarily, but we might end up playing a couple holes at missing links. So it's missing links and brown deer in terms of the practice facilities. In terms of how long the practices will run, we're expecting about an hour to maybe an hour and 15 minutes. Oops. I guess I was about to type that up, but I guess I didn't. So practices are expecting to be about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes or so. What time will practice start? We've kind of touched that. And then I'm sorry, sorry, I joined late. The season is projected to start. I'll type that up here. August 19, is that correct, Yvonne?
Correct. Yeah, that's the tentative start date is the 19th. Yeah. Give the kids a little bit of a time to kind of get used to, especially for our newer students who potentially never played before, to kind of get some additional practice in before we start getting into matches and things like that. So that's the tentative start date.
So I think that covers all of the questions. Would you agree, Mr. Guzman?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I think that covers everything. Some of these questions are, we've covered them correct about where practices will be held and what time practices will start. Does anybody else have any additional questions that you may want to toss into the chat here? Okay, what is the home course for upper school, Mr. Cruz?
We actually kind of don't have one, which is odd, but it's an interesting dynamic that we've got in terms of a home course. I would say it's probably Mequon in Thiensville would be the home course.
I would say that's right.
And then we are going to be sharing the recording, correct? recording of this material after the meeting.
Yes, so we do plan on putting this material up. You can probably find it where I plan on putting it is up on my USM. On my USM, there is a resource tab that has a ton of different things you can go through. Athletics has its own tab. I believe it's yellow and says USM Athletics. Just go ahead and click on that and we'll get that uploaded there. I'm going to get this over to our marketing communications department, likely tomorrow, to ask them to put it up for us as they handle a lot of that stuff. So look out for it, probably closer to the end of the week to be posted up there, and you can refer back to this whenever you'd like. So look out for it there. You can definitely access this afterwards.
And Mr. Guzman, I'm going to take the last question. Is there going to be a team size limit? And at this point, no, there's going to be no team size limit. A little bit of background: we had reached out to a couple of partner schools to see if we could try to put together a kind of full league of 4 to 5 schools. While originally we did get some, interest at first, a lot of those schools have unfortunately.
Mr. Cruz, your audio is starting to go. If you can.
Oh boy, hold on a second. Can you hear me now?
Can't hear you.
How about now?
Nope.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Hold on a second.
So I can touch a little bit about what he was talking about there. So yes, we did reach out to about 5 schools or so, 5 middle schools in the area, typical schools that we would be playing against in a variety of other sports. So the idea was to create our own league. It kind of be really the first of its kind in the area. So that was our ultimate goal for this, and is still continuing to be our ultimate goal. It has not turned into that just yet. So what it's turned into is we're partnering with, at this moment in time, Shorewood Middle School is looking to partner with us. And we've also reached out to the Prairie School, kind of down in the Racine area. They actually have something similar to this, but it's more intramural. But they've been very interested to try to kind of branch out and get actual matches going here. So the idea is our partnerships with those 2 schools is who would be playing most likely against Shorewood most often than not. And then depending on team size, right? Because we want this to grow. Depending on team size, we'd likely have students playing potentially groups with one another as well, still competitively and out on the course, and doing everything that you would do on a normal match day as well. Just amongst one another, depending, of course, this depends a lot about, how many Shorewood students are also going to be participating as well. So ultimately, the main goal is to keep it competitive, right? We want to have some competition and expose our young ones to, what golf is like, and hope that they get hooked and they like it. And we'll be partnering with Shorewood and playing them as much as we can, with hopefully an end of the season events, including Prairie. Mr. Cruz?
So apparently they are saying that they can hear me at home. So maybe it's your awful IT that was given to you by your IT director. But and one other thing too, probably even if
your audio is still out yet.
Yeah. Even if we are on our own, the plan is to break the team into 2 separate, like a blue and gold, equally matched, and then we'll kind of make the groups in amongst themselves. So we have a plan to try to make this as competitive as possible. And if we can bring in other schools, that'd be great as well. So I think that is going to be it. So do you want to take it, Yvonne? Nope, I think he can't hear me. Anyhow, thank you for showing your interest, and go Cats, and we hope that we can help your young players progress in the game of golf. So we really appreciate it. Have a good night, everybody.